Leave it to the Iranians, leave it to the students, leave it to the workers, leave it to the women. They'll do the job, or what?
There's a lot to be said for that. I should say that this debate was called, as Martin sort of mentioned, it was organised last year when the threat of war seemed far more imminent. Obviously, events have moved on.
Yeah.
However, I don't think you've wasted your time coming here, because I think this is an issue that isn't going to go away for a reason that Yasmin didn't mention. The intelligence report on the Iranian nuclear programme, they might say it's slower than they think. There's no one's denying that there are elements within the regime that want to enrich uranium, and after that, getting a bomb is a, that's a big thing to do if you want the bomb. So the question should be, in my mind, is this: is what to do about it. I do not support a war against Iran for very practical reasons. There isn't something sitting out in the open like the Tammuz, or what's sometimes called the Iraq nuclear reactor that Saddam Hussein had in the desert, and the Israelis took out in 1981. And Iranians, above all, must be grateful that they did, because Saddam would undoubtedly have used nuclear weapons against the Iranians in the Iran-Iraq war if he could have done. As it was, he stuck with chemical weapons that still caused the most appalling casualties. It's not like that. I have not seen any people who've been wargaming this in Washington. I haven't seen any coherent military strategy. You would have to bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb and bomb. The regime has planted scattered nuclear installations, put them among civilians, used its own populating shield. Even if you were to do it, there's no guarantee it would work. You would have to invade. Well, invading Iran, by that time you would have Western troops from Iraq, Iraq's border with Jordan in the west, in an arc across Central Asia to eastern Afghanistan in the east. It would just be impossible. However, and this is something Yasmin didn't discuss, the alternative sounds pretty repellent, really. If further down the line, if not in 2010, but if we were having this debate 2 or 3 years' time, and Iran really was moving towards the bomb, there are wider consequences which affect our interest. The first, and I would say the most important, is Britain. I'm British. We're in London. Western interest. And beyond, actually, there is a effective American, if not umbrella, sort of guarantee over much of the Middle East. There's no need for you all to worry about developing nuclear weapons. We will sort of make sure that you're not threatened by them. If Iran gets the bomb, Saudi Arabia will certainly want one, I think, partly because it is terrified by its own hideously oppressed Shia population who happen to live on the oil wells. Turkey may want one. If Turkey starts a nuclear program, that will have repercussions in Europe. Europe is already highly divided over Turkey. Turkey's application for membership is being resisted very foolishly, in my view. I think Turkey joining the European Union is the best thing to do. We can end this clash of civilization nonsense and have a fully Muslim country as part of the European Union, but it's hugely resisted, and a militarized, nuclearized Turkish state would increase that resistance, make our suspicion of Turkey, particularly in Greece and the Balkans, all the greater. So, you have this situation of war is impossible, but the alternative, possible alternative, I'm not saying will happen, looks equally unpalatable. Now, to me, the way through is Cold War. That is, the West, and all people, all countries that don't want to see this get out of hand, support the opposition in Iran. Think about that if Iran keeps supplying Shia militia in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and does its best to make a Middle Eastern peace settlement impossible. And again, Middle Eastern peace settlement is hugely in Europe's interest by support for Hezbollah, Hamas. Well, you know, we will respond in kind. We will support the oppressed Iranian minorities, the oppressed Iranian Arabs, oppressed Iranian Kurds. This is a feasible policy. But beyond that, I do get a bit tired of people saying, people talking out it's all about what the West or what the US government or what, as if, you know, it is disconnected from the way we behave in a sort of intellectual meeting in Soho. It would be good if the Iranian opposition had something like the support that, say, the ANC had in the 1980s, that they could be sure that when trade unionists, for instance, in Tehran are thrown into prison, there'll be outcry across the left-wing world that the oppression of women in Iraq, the murder of homosexuals, as well as the rather racist campaigns against the ethnic minorities, would be a huge issue globally among liberal-minded people who are meant to abhor such things. But you only have to raise that prospect to stumble into quite a large problem. These are not big issues. These are not causes of conscience for people who call themselves liberal, who call themselves left-wing in the West. I mean, as we're in the theatre, you know, imagine offering a play about these things, about one of these issues. Even if accepted, imagine an audience coming to see it. It is very, very strange to me, the great intellectual problem of our time, that people who are who call themselves left-wing, who say they are against, for whom in the 20th century the worst form of oppression was, for want of a better word, but fascism is the wrong word, but fascistic, sectarian, prejudice just based on race or on gender or on creed and wiping out of people's rights net are not facing up to it in the modern world. And I think we need, not just on Iran, but across the board, we need a change of mind and